9.6. So what happens after World War II? We've finished up the European theater, the Pacific theater, and the home front. We need to figure out what happens after. So 1945, the Yalta Conference. This is where leaders from Great Britain, the US, and the USSR, Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin get together to discuss what avenue to take now that Germany and Japan are defeated. They decided that Poland, Bulgaria, and Romania would be allowed to hold free elections and elect their leaders. They also decided to divide Germany into 4 occupied zones. This is where we get the Berlin Wall. They allowed war payments to the Soviets from Germany. They gave new borders and free elections for Poland and said that the USSR would enter the war against Japan. All right, so this is what it looks like after the war. The pink represents the free countries of Europe, and the gray represents communist countries. We are pretty much divided right across here in one line. Winston Churchill described this division of Europe using the term Iron Curtain. This is where we start getting into a lot of Cold War tensions. In 1948, we devised the Marshall Plan. This provided money to Western European countries to help them rebuild after the war. By the U.S. giving Western Europe aid, the Soviet Union could not spread communism. So this is essentially working out how if somebody gives you help in a certain area, whether it's financial or whatever, then you will probably be more inclined to favor that person that helped you. And so the U.S. sneaks in there before the USSR can. And so now Western Europe is indebted to America, or they are more inclined to favor America over communist Russia. The Truman Doctrine of 1947 promised to help any country fight against communism. Greece and Turkey were the first countries that we aided in this endeavor. And it set a new course for American foreign policy. No longer was America isolationist, but instead we were fighting for democracy and against communism in the world, and we would team up with countries like South Korea to fight the advancement of communism in hopes of containing it. And this is what gets us into the Korean War. After World War II, Korea was divided at the 38th parallel. North Korea was occupied by Soviet Russia, and South Korea was occupied by the U.S. When North Korea invaded South Korea, the United Nations sent troops to defend South Korea. And Communist China sent troops to help North Korea. This war lasted for 3 years, and when it ended, there really wasn't anything gained or lost. It was pretty much a stalemate. They ended right where they began at the 38th. The new superpowers after World War II are the USA and the USSR. These are the 2 major powerhouses, and even today, we are still the top 2 countries that have the most in military spending. So we are about to dive into the Cold War next, so stay tuned and keep up with your quizzes and your lectures, guys.